You are listening to Best in Seattle Real Estate with host Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420. This podcast is for real estate agents. Tina interviews the best of the best agents in the greater Seattle market. Learn strategies and the mindset needed to be your best. If you're looking to take your real estate business to the next level, this show is for you.
Welcome to Best in Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by Hubbard Radio. I am your host and local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. My show is with real estate agents for real estate agents. My lineup is exclusive and reserved for the best of the best in the greater Seattle market based on closed transactions in the last 12 months. If you are a real estate agent looking to level up your game, you are in the right place. My guest today is here to share what she has learned over the years that has taken her to the top in the real estate field. Now in studio, Kari Haas of Windermere Bellevue Commons, Kari Haas Real Estate Team. Kari, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Thank you so much for having me, Tina. It's always an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah, wealth of information that I'm collecting in my library of Kari Haas interviews, and just really excited to hear what you have to share today. Kari has closed 45 transactions in the last 12 months, and that earns her the title of industry leader, and she is here today to share her secrets to success, data provided and verified by MMI, Mobility Market Intelligence. And I would also like to give a big shout out and a big thank you to my producer over at Hubbard Radio, Benny.
Hi there, and good to see you. I've got my little light on you. I'm shining it brightly, only because our guest today, yep, there's a little home from Tina. Our guest gave us these little beautiful things, and it was a good reminder because actually I use it every day here in the morning. So thank you, Kari, very much.
And what a great shout out, because we're talking about this show again is for real estate agents with real estate agents. And I only interview the best of the best. They're in the top 1% in the entire country. And this is one thing that Kari does. Wherever she goes, she gives out little cool quality trinkets and things, and like the pan that you can use, and people have them all over town. So we're not going to talk about that today, but it was a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Since Benny brought up his pen that he uses every morning since he's in studio at 4:30, and my granddaughter, she wants to come into my office because she wants to play with this little home that's from Kari Haas team. So there you go, Kari. We just taught the agents something they need to be doing. Absolutely. So Benny, we've worked together for a lot of years, and I hope for many more. And I definitely would not be here with Kari this morning if it weren't for you. So again, a big shout out.
Hey, you're quite welcome.
Yeah. So Kari, let me share a little bit about you to our listeners, and then we'll get into the interview. Kari Business Practice has stepped up in philosophy and commitment, honesty, integrity, intelligence, excellence, while loving her clients and developing a strong team to produce the best results. Prior to becoming the managing broker, Kari owned a marketing graphic design firm. Hence, all the cool stuff that she does to stay in front of her clients. 10 years ago, Kari brought her leadership attention to detail along with her negotiation and marketing expertise to the real estate industry, often exceeding client expectations and rising to the top producing agent in her office. So Kari, again, thank you so much. I am just so honored to be here with you and so excited to be sharing with the listeners, the real estate agents that are listening to the show today, my interview with you. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Kari, let's go ahead and start out and talk about how you stay motivated, especially in the constantly changing times that we're having in the industry right now. What do? You always have a smile on your face. Obviously, your business shows that you're motivated and inspired through your day. So what do you credit that to?
Well, first of all, I'm motivated by doing an extraordinary job for my clients, but I do visualization techniques, and I really love what I do, and I'm excited to help people, and so that's really what drives me. I'm so lucky that way. But we have a lot of laughter and fun here in my office, and the clients really drive me when, they make comments like, oh, you changed my life, you changed my children's lives, how can we thank you? And that is really what motivates me, is just trying to do the best in the universe, as best as I can.
Yeah, making a difference in people's lives. And Carrie, I
Right.
like how you did a, shout out with a smile on your face because every time I see you, and we're together a lot, and the reality of our industry, nothing goes perfect all the time, right? And there's things that comes up or things out of our control. And every time I have conversations with you, even when something's going on, you have the biggest smile on your face all the time, and your team is extended that way. I go to a lot of your in-person events that you have for clients, and you have a huge team. Everybody is just so happy all the time. So I think that's a good takeaway for our real estate agents that are listening. You have to really work on being happy all the time, and a smile, just putting a smile on your face. And sometimes you have to kind of be a little, might have to force that initially to keep it there, but it's really kind of hard to be sad if you're happy on the outside, right?
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and I think there's a solution to literally every problem. And so it's really just finding out what that solution is. So there's no reason to not have a smile on your face, right?
absolutely. I love that. Yeah,
We're
and look at
very
what the other
lucky
side
to be
looks like.
here and, to be here in our corner of the world in this, I love the beauty that we have that surrounds us, and we're so lucky to be here and to be in a place that has good jobs and has good weather and has good schools and all of the great things, right?
All of the great things
So
that we have,
very
you definitely
fortunate,
don't want to take granted for
right?
sure.
That's why my license plate says grateful, because I am very grateful.
That is wonderful. And when you're grateful, you have grateful things come back to you as well. So that's a great takeaway for our listeners. So also right now with real estate agents, there's obviously there's a lot going on behind the scenes in the industry with compensation, and it's actually in front of the scenes as well with buyers and sellers. How are you navigating with the question that comes up around your compensation, and now that things are different in how that's being disclosed?
So here in Washington State, we have been disclosing the amount that we're paying to buyers agents for quite a while. So it's nothing new to us. We were already doing what they were complaining about over in the Midwest. But that said, things have changed a little bit, and there are more conversations around compensation. And I think it's really just important to articulate your worth and what you do. For me, I don't negotiate my rate. My rate is 3%, and that's what it is. And it's the same for everybody, and I don't change that for anybody. But I also won't. I'll negotiate well for my clients as well, right? And I don't back down for them either. So it works well for my clients as well. And you really just need to, let them know that, it's like getting a heart surgeon. Do you want to go to a heart surgeon who's a bargain rate heart surgeon, or do you want to go to one that you have to pay the reasonable normal fee, but you know that they're going to do a good job for you? Well, you can choose a discount agent. I'm not a discount agent, but I also provide a lot more services than most agents do. Um, so we provide a lot of support that people would have to pay additional for
Hmm.
elsewise. So therefore, it makes sense. And so if you can just articulate what it is that you do for them and why it is that you need that compensation. I mean, it costs money to do this job,
Yeah.
right? It's not free. And it costs a lot to do this job properly. So I think if you can articulate that to your clients, I haven't had any issues. And articulating for the buyer's agent when I'm the listing agent, really, the MLS did a study. It was a few years ago now, before COVID. So things have changed maybe a little bit. I'm not sure if they want to do another study, but in 100% of the cases before COVID, 100% of the cases, if you offered less than 3% to the buyer's agent, you got less when you sold. And it's not that agents don't want to sell the house. It's
Yeah.
that, you know, it's human nature. Obviously, um, you want to be paid for the job that you're doing, and it costs money to do this job even as a buyer's agent. So I think you can articulate that to
Great
the
advice.
the sellers.
Yeah. And like the discounted price equals discounted service and discounted results. So you need to have your dialogue or your script. You have to have your conversation prepared up front and how you're going to deliver that message. And you have to deliver it with confidence. And sometimes it's going to take a while for you to practice that to where you feel confident in your messaging. But that's ultimately where it comes to. Kari said 45 transactions in the last 12 months, and she's never discounted her comp. So that shows that it can be done. It is being done, but it's in the confidence in how she delivers the message and how she shows her value. And I like also how you mentioned, Kari, the cost of doing business. You don't have to break down exactly what it's going to cost, but you can say, percentage of the commission goes to my company, percentage of the commission goes to this. And I would have all those things listed out and what it cost you on the buyer side or on the seller side, depending on who you're talking with. And then also that 150 or the 205 or whatever things that you do, have your one sheet with all of the things that you do as a real estate agent, representing them in the process. And you don't have to list all those things, but you can say, here's the 205 things that I do. And by the way, out of these 205 things, if you work with a discounted shop, you're going to get 50 of them, right? I mean, that's a really powerful message to be able to have to show worth and why you're charging what you're charging. And I love how you say, with a heart surgeon. I mean, who do you want to have do your heart surgery, right?
And also, it's my level of activity, right? Most agents don't go to the appraisal. I always go to the appraisal with a list of attributes and comparables so that I know that they're seeing what I want them to see. And I always leave the house staged in with my talkers so that they can fall in love with the house the same that the buyer did.
Mhm.
I also go to my signings. Because the notary knows where to sign, but they don't really know the transaction. And that makes a really big deal, to my clients, because they need that measure of comfort that somebody
Absolutely.
knows what's going on when they're signing all of these documents.
So if you can
And
find one of those things, Kari,
right,
if you're a real estate agent, you can find one of those things and you can attach a dollar amount or a percentage to maybe one of those things. And appraisal is a really good one. And you can have a story that's planted, a real story. It can be your real story or it can be another real story, a nightmare story from an agent in the office. It doesn't matter. You can share that story and make it your own. And I go to the appraiser, I prepare the information for the appraiser, and I will tell you, here's what can happen if that doesn't. And you can bring in that percentage of right. And that just makes right there that
right,
takes away compensation.
right. Well, obviously, when you sell a house, even if they're waiving their appraisal, which happens a lot of the time, you still want the buyer to be able to complete the transaction, right?
Absolutely.
So I want the best for both buyer and seller, um, you know, once we're under
Great
contract.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deliver your message. It should be the same message every time. Be powerful with the message and build that confidence, and you won't have questions or somebody trying to discount your commission. So, coming up next on Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, continued conversation with Kari Haas of Windermere Bellevue Commons, Kari Haas Real Estate Team.
So, when submitting an offer on a home, the lender your buyer chooses to work with can make or break the offer based on their local reputation. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, has a stellar relationship in the real estate community. She has been awarded Partner of the Year from Washington Realtors, Media of the Year from Seattle King County Realtors, and Member of the Year from Women's Council of Realtors. With over 25 years in the mortgage industry, Tina has worked hard to establish her place in the mortgage space. For more information on how Tina is helping her buyers stand out next to their competition, go to TinaMitchellTeam.com. That's TinaMitchellTeam.com.
Well, welcome back to Best in Seattle Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by Hubbard Radio Seattle. I am your host and local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Continued conversation with Kari Haas of Windermere Bellevue Commons, Kari Haas Real Estate Team. Are you a real estate agent looking for that one thing to take your business to new heights? Kari is here to motivate you to be your best. You will learn what she is doing and how you can implement her best practices into your real estate business. Today, Kari is sharing her strategies and mindset needed to be the best in the industry. Kari is here to inspire other real estate agents to level up their real estate business. Kari, thank you again for being here with me today.
Thanks again for having me. It's always
Absolutely.
fun.
So, Kari, what role does networking play in your success?
Well, as you know, Tina, since we are in a networking group together, networking is super important. 99, more than 99% of my business is referral based. I get very few people who just find me on the internet, and I don't do any lead buying or generation like that. Every person I work with is somebody who I know or who knows somebody that I know or who I've helped. Um, and so, networking is fun. You get to meet with people and talk to people and find out about them and see how you can help them. And that's a big part of networking for me is helping other people. Um, but also, as you mentioned, I have the little house, I have a pen, I have, fun things like uh, cups. But it's good to have something that you can leave with people that is useful for them, that's not something they're gonna throw away, um, and that that they enjoy having. So I think of it more as giving people helpful tools, and things, that help them in their lives. I also do a circle of friends where I give away an item every 2 months, on my mailing list, and that's completely free, no purchase necessary. It's just, you can go into the store and get whatever it is that month. I think we have donuts right now or
Hmm.
something of that nature. But sometimes we have sushi, sometimes it's coffee, it depends on what it is. Um, but I love networking with people and getting to know people and being in all different places. So it's really
Yeah.
important to do what you like to do if you are involved in certain communities or if you do certain activities. It's best to stay with the same group and can, get to know those people better, because the more somebody knows you better, the more they're going to be able to use your services,
Yeah.
refer your services, and the more you'll be first of mind when it comes up that they need you. And so that's where the secret sauce is. A lot of people make the mistake that they go networking and then they don't see those people again. They go to another networking situation or another party, and really continuity is super important.
Yeah, great advice, Carrie. And Carrie again said 99% of our business comes by referral. So I always say you can either stalk the cold or you can court the warm. And Carrie knows how to court the warm. And I love how you say be strategic in where you're targeting. So when you decide on what your target is, you keep hitting that spot over and over and over. You're showing up in those spaces over and over again and connecting to those relationships. And also, honestly, not because I'm interviewing Carrie and trying to um uh say something that's not absolutely 100% true. I have never showed up at a networking because I am honored to be involved in a networking group with Carrie where there's one mortgage professional and she chose me. And in all of the networking I've done in actually almost 30 years in the industry, I've never seen someone show up consistent like Carrie, because she shows up and she shows up with such a level that is higher than majority of everybody that's in that room, but then also how she contributes and is constantly looking. And I think that's a big takeaway for Carrie that she's talked about here in our interview and she has in our previous as well. It's how you contribute to others. And if you go in wanting to make a difference in someone else's life, which is taking time out of your life to actually find ways to support them, they are going to naturally want to support you. And it takes work, it takes effort. But I think that's a huge reason in why Carrie is where she's at. Again, closing 45 transactions in the last 12 months. I mean, that's huge. Carrie is not just in the top 1%, she's in the top 0.5% in the entire nation. And that's how she's doing it. So, Carrie, thank you again for just sharing all the beautiful things that you're doing and how you're contributing and how that ultimately is making a better life for you, your family, and the people that you care about, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
and it's just spreading the love.
It's spreading the love. You do such a great
Right.
job with that. So, Kari, how is running a successful business different than what you thought before coming in, especially into the real estate space?
Well, you don't get to keep all the money. That's
Yeah,
number
that's
one,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
You're responsible for others.
Yeah.
Leadership is an action. It's not a position,
Mhm.
right? So, you work more than everybody else. And at the end of the day, I have a great staff. I'm really, really lucky. But at the end of the day, who cares most? I care most, right? So, you know, it's not just selling homes as much as advocating for my clients, but it's also advocating for my employees and being um, a good boss, really.
Yeah, and have
And
employees for myself too. It is a responsibility because you're actually responsible for them and their success, and so you really have to manage based on that idea and motivate them and get them involved just as much as you are. As we're wrapping up, we have just a couple minutes, Kari. I do want to touch on the success and how much you credit that to having a team.
that it's super important. And a lot of people listening are going, okay, 45 sales, I probably have a team of agents. I don't have a team of agents.
Wow.
It's just I'm the only real agent. I'm the only one who brings in business. I do have an agent who helps me be at inspections and things where I need to have a licensed broker there. But really his job is helping me get listings prepared. And then I have, a full-time marketing person and a full-time person who does transaction coordination and moving therapy. So we help people with the moving part of it, but it's really important to have quality people. And it's also important that people do what they like to do and what they're best at. And so that's why my team works really well, is because we're all good at something different. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of different personalities to do this job really well. And so we're all different. We all fill a different role, and it works really well together. Like I said, there's a lot of laughter and fun, and it's a really cohesive group. And I'm very, very pleased and honored that, most of my employees have been with me many, many years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
they
I
definitely
love that. And
love
they're
working
all
with
high level, right? Like
us.
they're all high level people who aren't just newbies. So I'm
Yeah.
very honored to have such a great team.
Well, and a great takeaway here, doing 45 transactions in the last 12 months, you would think that she has a buyer's agent, listing agent, and Kari touches and does all those high level. She is absolutely the rainmaker. And the key again, takeaway, if you're listening to the show, it's critically important that you're hiring people that are perfect for that role. If you don't know about the DISC profile, if you don't know about hiring around embracing your strengths and hiring your weaknesses, you can reach to me. I have a whole course that I've done on that, but I can send that video to you because it's the key thing that you need to be getting the right people. And you need to be doing the high level activities and having them take care of everything else. Kari spends time with her family, which is out of the country, and she's able to run, even though she is the high level and does all of those activities, she's still able to do that and have a great quality of life because the team is backing her up on those things that take, more of the hours, maybe, right, Kari?
Right. I just got back from a 5-week vacation
Yeah, so crazy.
and had a grandchild.
Congratulations again on your second grandbaby. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Kari,
that.
thank you again for being on the show today, and thank you advance for because I know we're gonna have you back, and I just really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your expertise. And to watch my video recording with Kari, many video recordings that I have with her, you can go to bestinseattlerealestate.com. You can search Kari or see other industry leaders that I have on the show. You can also catch my show on my YouTube channel, and yeah, it's fun as always, Kari. Thank you again.
Thanks so much for having me. It's always fun.
Yeah. Tina Mitchell, your host and local mortgage expert, making a difference in the industry, one show and one interview at a time. Until next time.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited.